Starting a farmer's market might sound complicated. There's license fees, vendor fees, pricing to think about. In this video, I'm gonna break down how you can start a farmer's market as a veggie grower and start earning $500 a week selling your own product from your own backyard. And if you wanna grow veggies or turn your hobby into a business, you should totally hit that subscribe button over here because I post new videos every week about how you can grow vegetables on your land and make an income by selling them as a business. I'm Zach Buckle, and I'm a year-round veggie farmer in Cody, Wyoming. And in 2021, we started our own winter farmers market that now has hundreds of weekly customers and brings in anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a week in sales for my business through the winter, and much more in the summer. So your first step in starting a farmer's market is gonna be picking a location. So you're gonna want a location with lots of foot traffic and where the surrounding businesses are gonna benefit from the foot traffic. We started our winter market in an empty building adjacent to a brand new restaurant, and we made a deal with the restaurant owner to be able to set up in that building so we could fit 10 vendors in there to start. And we paid him a moderate monthly fee to do that as a rental fee. And it was totally worth it for us to pay that fee because we still made revenue from charging vendor fees for the vendors to actually show up. And they loved this arrangement because it brought foot traffic to their brand new restaurant and helped build their business. And we've grown this over the years by expanding into another adjacent building and eventually a building where we could fit 20 to 30 different vendors for our winter market. So area with high foot traffic and one that will benefit from the foot traffic is ideal. And an outdoor parking lot is another great option. This is what we do for our summer market and what a lot of farmers markets do. And so ideally, your location will be free, but if you do have to pay that fee, it's totally worth it because you're going to be able to pay for it by charging the vendors to show up. And you do want to do that. So you should be thinking about either indoor buildings or centrally located parking lots in your city center that automatically get a lot of foot traffic, either in the winter or the summer. Because the more organic foot traffic you get, the easier it's going to be to build the momentum of your market. So the second step in starting a farmer's market is getting vendors to show up. So you want to start with about 10 vendors to start, just so there's enough interest for people that do show up. And I like to focus on food vendors for building a market because most people come to a farmer's market to buy groceries. They don't come to buy crafts and things like that. So there's very few people that are going to be going to things like a flea market every single week. But a farmer's market, you can have the same person come every single week of the year because they have a product that they need in their groceries every single week of the year. So focusing on food is ideal because that's something that people need every single week. And that's really what a farmer's market is. So ideally, you're gonna start off with veggies, and hopefully that's you if you're watching this, baked goods, honey, dairy, ideally, some kind of meat like beef, pork, chicken, things like that, and other various food items. We also have vendors at our market that sell vinegar shrubs, salsa, pre-made meals, all stuff that's fairly perishable or is eaten on a regular basis. And you want to charge the vendors a fee to be there. We started off charging our vendors $150 for the fee for 6 months of the year. And we haven't raised it since because we have so many new vendors and we have the ability to generate more revenue because we have bigger space to fill and get more vendors. So we've never needed to raise it, but eventually we probably will. But that $150 fee to a vendor that's going to make a couple $1,000s or $5,000 to $10,000 in that time period is totally worth it for them. It's a very small business expense compared to other things like real rent for like a brick and mortar business and things like that. So you got to have that vendor fee so you can afford to pay for advertising, for possibly rent, and a whole bunch of other things you're going to need to actually grow the market. Do you think this is doable in your town? Let me know in the comments below what your community is like and if it would likely receive a farmer's market well if it doesn't already have one. Step 3 is going to be promotion. So at the beginning of your market, you're going to need to promote the snot out of it to actually get it off the ground. What we did when we started the winter market was we went on local radio shows to talk about it. We posted on Facebook classified pages all the time. We started spending about $50 a month on Facebook ads, which is by far the cheapest, most effective way to advertise. And we have also made it so all of the vendors who are involved have skin in the game and really want to help the market grow also because it benefits their business. So we encourage all of our vendors to post on their social media pages to continue to promote the market. And that's how we got started, and it's just slowly grown and grown over time. Eventually, we've added a website where vendors can apply and people can go to see what our hours are, things like that. And we've even linked it to a Google Maps listing so tourists in the area, which we do get a lot of in our town, can see that we have a farmer's market and see what the times are. So there's all sorts of ways you can help build the momentum of the market over time. And you also want to take advantage of any sort of local events that would take a sponsorship from you or something like that, where you can get your logo at their event or provide some kind of gift basket with a bunch of products from the market and people get that as an auction item or something like that. We've done all this stuff over the years, and we've also joined the local Chamber of Commerce, which gets our name and hours and location for the entire year in their information, and also just generally helps promote the market. So it's really important to do as much of that stuff as you possibly can, especially at the beginning, to start building momentum and getting people involved. And eventually, if you are a person that is good at running events, which I'm not really that good at, it's a lot of work to run an event, but we have somebody at our market that does do that now, and it's huge for promoting the market. So we do a seasonal launch event twice a year. We have a harvest festival in the fall to start the winter market and a spring fling festival in the spring to start our spring market, where we have kids games, local music, stuff like that to really generate interest in the market at the beginning of each season. So that's another way to get promotion for your market, and hopefully you'll have somebody in your vendor group that's willing to do that or willing to at least help somebody else do that. Step 4 is the most important part of this whole equation, and that is building real human relationships. So once you have this all set up and you start promoting the market and you actually get people to show up, your next job is to build a relationship with every single person that walks into your booth. So at the beginning, we had a great group of vendors who all believed in this as much as I do, and every single one of them took the relationships part really, really seriously. You can get away with a subpar market with subpar product availability if every single vendor is actually there to not just make money, but to build relationships and friendships with the community. Because one of the huge reasons why people will come back every single week is not just to buy your product, but it's to talk to you. And I live in a small town, so there's not a whole lot of things to do on a Saturday morning. And so this is a great way for people to socialize. And they're not just gonna socialize with you, they're gonna socialize with other customers. So if you create it as a social event and you actually build real friendships and relationships with the people that come to your booth, it becomes organically profitable on its own without you really having to think about it as selling to people. So it's really important to literally say, hello, what is your name? How are you doing today? All of those small talk kind of things, and say them to every single person that walks into your booth, and get to know them, get to know what they do in the community, what they are doing for the holidays, all that kind of stuff, what they're doing with your product. Asking all those questions and building a real human relationship is gonna pay so much dividends for you in your business long term. not only in the money that you make right there, but it's also gonna pay dividends in leading to future customer relationships. I've made tons of real friends from doing this over the years, and also customer relationships with restaurants or veggie box customers. There's a lot of opportunities that can sort of spiral out of this just from doing the relationship thing seriously. You know, just treat people like real human beings, and you'd be amazed what happens over a period of 5 to 10 years of doing this. So relationships are the key to making this a sustainable thing, and it really should make it a lot more fun for you. So you actually have a reason to look forward to going there, and it doesn't feel like a job. Step 5 is how you can make $500 a week doing this as a veggie grower. So to start, you're basically going to need 2 6-foot folding tables, a 10 by 10 foot tent, about $100 in cash in 1s, 5s, and 10s, and some baskets maybe to carry your veggies, some totes to bring your veggies to the market, and a vehicle to bring it there. You can add to this over time and get a lot fancier eventually, but at the beginning, what's most important is the veggies themselves and you as the relationship builder. And for a complete breakdown of what you could bring to get that $500, here's a list of roughly what you'll need to harvest every single week and produce to get to $500. And this is just a hypothetical example. You could totally tweak to what you can do in your context, so you don't have to grow exactly these crops, but these are pretty basic farmers market crops that a lot of people will buy and are relatively easy to grow. And in order to accomplish this, you'll need about 4,000 to 5,000 square feet of growing space, and you'll need to plant the entire space in 25 to 50 foot long by 2.5 foot beds and 14-inch pathways. So you basically fit as many of those growing beds as you can into that space, and you plant 2 crops within your growing season. So 1 spring crop and 1 fall crop. And the crops that I listed here are a rough idea of what you could grow. For a lot more detailed explanation of what that could look like for you, watch the video above my head, and it'll break down exactly what that will look like crop by crop and all of the things you're going to need to make that happen. If you want to make an income from your land growing and selling veggies, I have a complete seed to sale online course that teaches you everything from no-dig farm setup, succession crop planning, plant propagation, irrigation, sales and marketing, and everything in between to actually make your business work. If that sounds like your jam, book a strategy session with me at the link in the description below to see if it's a good fit for you. If you already have a garden but want to start growing high profit crops that bring in revenue on a really small land base, watch this video where I break down my top 20 high profit crops that bring in revenue for my business. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.